What's up, good people, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Thorough, where we give you the real behind business, health, money, and self development and introduce engaging concepts to help you perform better in all areas of life. I'm your host, Cedric Lavelle, joined by my counterpart, Mr. E double. Think I did that? Hey,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
he
kind of
just came
fresh,
up with
dog.
that.
Hey,
No,
something new.
not really. I don't know about
E
that
to the
one. But yeah, man. Hey, man,
DOUBLE.
it's your boy E. It's your boy E double. We back at y'all for episode 95. He lost me with that one, y'all. I didn't even know he was gonna do that one. Man, we might need to cut and paste on that one.
Ah,
But no, we back at y'all, man, for another episode. Hope y'all all had an amazing Halloween. You know what I mean, with y'all kiddos and children and all that good stuff. But episode 94, and the title of this one is Stress, Healthy or Unhealthy? So we got a good one on tap for y'all as always and as usual. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Oh, wait, I'm tripping. So as always, be sure to go to the website, keepitthorough.com/kits, and check out the kit that corresponds with this episode. You know, and be sure to podcast with us wherever you podcast, and tell a friend, and we back again and all that good stuff. So now, without further ado,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
go ahead and kick
Let's
this
get to
thing
it.
off.
My bad. It was probably the intro that threw you off. You know what I'm
Throw
saying?
me all the way off.
Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, hey, that was a healthy, stressful situation. No, I'm just playing.
Hey, that was use trust, which is a new word.
Yeah, hey, you know what I'm saying?
That I
I
learned.
learned that one
So
too
we'll get off into that in a little bit.
already. Yes, sir. So, man, I think that everyone knows that there are various forms of stress that we all deal with, right? And the unique thing about stress is the line between helpful and harmful can sometimes get a little blurry, right? And it's at different phases of our lives where we experience moments that can drive our progress or potentially damage it. And it's in those particular moments where I think that our ideal and our internalizing of stress really makes the biggest impact. And I believe that when we're able to endure stress, or to be able to endure stress, we have to first embrace stress and recognize that when we speak about stress and how we see stress can ultimately determine the direction that that we move, the direction that we potentially may navigate into. And it's all based off of how we see stress, how we speak about stress, how we internalize stress, the idea of stress. And then if we're able to positively navigate within those moments, I think that's where we can more likely be able to overcome stress opposed to being overwhelmed by it. And that makes the difference in that aspect. And like you was just saying, just understanding that there are different dynamics of stress really can give you that perspective to where you can withstand those moments and come out on the other side of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like I just mentioned, right? Use stress. So there's different ends of the stress spectrum, right? So I think all of us are aware or have been aware that there's positive forms of stress, and then there's negative forms of stress. What I did not know was there was a word for that, right? And that word for positive stress is eustress, and that's spelled EUSTRESS, right? So getting back on the analogy of spectrum, right? So just like light has spectrum, so does stress. Just touched on that. And on the end of that spectrum, we have eustress, which is a positive form of stress that challenges us to adapt, to learn, and to grow. And having a certain degree of trust stimulates our creativity and our resourcefulness, if I can speak, right? And that propels us, to meet life's demands with more zeal and enthusiasm. So look at you stress as like a dedicated coach that's like pushing you to go a little harder, or to go a little further, right?
Right.
You're tired, you don't want to run another lap, and you stress is like, okay, come on, man, you got one more in you, right? That's that positive stress to try to push you to be a better version of yourself. Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum, we have distress, right? And I'm sure most of us are familiar with that.
Oh yeah.
And this causes strain, unease, and relentless discomfort. And when handled poorly or expressed or experienced chronically, distress can lead to anxiety, depression, and a host of other physical and mental health issues. And distress is like a dictator. So as you know how you stress is like a coach, pushing you to be a better version of yourself. Distress is like a dictator,
Yeah.
and it keeps you, trapped within these walls of worry, anxiety, and negative self-talk. This is when you're constantly talking to yourself and you're being like a pessimist. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this. This is so hard. Like, this is so challenging. Or, when you're losing sleep or you're not eating right, and you're just not yourself and you're not performing at your peak.
Right.
So that's what that distress is and what it causes.
Absolutely. And that's important to, like you said, recognize the dynamics of the two and what they mean. And once you, I feel, really understand the differences between the two, you can create a better approach to what you're doing. And I would stress the fact, right, that being proactive with stress opposed to being reactive can make a significant difference. And what I mean by that is when situations occur, you take actions that initiate change opposed to allowing those events dictate to you how you respond. Just like E was saying, like with distress, it dictates how you respond. You're responding based on the moment and not the mindset that you really ultimately would want to take or should take, right? And so 3 things that I feel that can help with just the understanding of the dynamics between the two would be your stress response, understanding chronic stress, and then your stress perception, right? So with stress response, it's a controllable thing because it's our response. It's the way that we choose to respond to the situation and the event that's occurring. And when we choose what's most appropriate to the way that we deal with those moments and those situations, that can make the impact on how we're able to get through those situations, right? And then with chronic stress, that's just prolonged stress. And prolonged stress obviously is a problem, right? And finding the root of that problem is the first step to getting yourself in a better place to learn how to more appropriately navigate through stressful situations. So if you're continuing to go through a situation and you have these negative feelings concerning the situation, get to the root of the problem. Figure out what's wrong. Figure out what's allowing you to feel this way or continuing to put you in this position. Take the necessary steps to be proactive and see what's the best, the best route to get you to a solution and do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow yourself to be in a situation where you're continuously going through the same thing and you're not finding the results or experiencing the results, because then that can lead to, the mental health, depression, anxiety, and a whole lot of other things that you don't want to see yourself buried into. And then the next thing is just the stress perception. So how you look at a problem and the position you take on it will influence your actions. And that's with anything, not even just with stress. That's just with, challenges, family, work, whatever the case may be. Perception is everything. And how you may observe a problem will ultimately determine how you approach that problem. So if you're approaching a situation from a negative aspect, of course, stress is going to get the best of you. It's going to overwhelm you. You're going to be overcome with emotions and not know how to navigate. But if you take those situations and you approach it more positively, then you could potentially see better outcomes and put yourself in a position to eventually move forward and experience success or whatever the end goal is that you want to get to.
Absolutely. And what's crazy, right? As I sit here and as I listen to you explain that, and I really just think about life. If you really think about it, man, life is about solving problems.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then if you really think about it, those who are able to solve, more complex problems at a quicker pace are those who typically are more successful.
Yeah.
versus those who linger and are not able to solve simple problems, right? They're typically not as successful because they let, that distress take control of them, and it, stifles their development and their, accomplishments, or, stops them from becoming their best
Version of
versions of
themselves. Yeah,
themselves,
that's
right?
right,
So
bro.
it's like, if you really think about it, that's really what life is about. Life is about solving problems. Every day that we wake up, you got a list of problems that you need to address and you need to solve, and your perception is everything,
Right.
right? Which is a good segue, and into this next section. And we've already kind of mentioned it and touched on it, but your perspective plays a huge role in how stress can influence an individual's performance and well-being. So, we love to give examples and make things tangible. So, for instance, take a student who sees an exam as a challenge rather than a threat. So, as the test approaches, she experiences trust, which causes her to study attentively, understand the materials comprehensively, and then perform to her best ability, right? Because it's a challenge that she's getting up and ready for, as opposed to the opposite of that, right? So, in contrast, the student who perceives the exam as a threat, and this results in distress from their perspective, and can lead to trouble sleeping, unhealthy eating, impaired cognitive function, which negatively affects the student's performance. So it's the complete opposite of the first student, and that's really all based off of perception.
Right.
And then if you tie in some of the other episodes that we've done as it relates to procrastination and things like that, that'll play into whether that stress is eustress or if it's distress. Because if you wait to the last minute to prepare for that exam, it's gonna get real. It's gonna be very stressful.
It's gonna get amplified.
Whereas if exactly amplified, best word to use. So whereas if you had a schedule and took all of the time that you had to prepare,
Being proactive.
Being proactive, it would be you trust, right? Because you're like, okay, I'm ready for this. Let me go ahead and read a couple pages. Let me do a little research now, and then a little bit later, and so on and so forth. And now you feel prepared, and it's not it's a challenge that you're ready to get up for, and you're not losing sleep or whatever the case may be. But all in all, understanding the diverse perspectives of stress is paramount to navigating through life's challenges effectively. So recognizing that stress encompasses both eustress and distress allows for you to harness it to its full potential, right? And that's where you trust is essentially a tool in your arsenal. You know what I mean? So by viewing difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles, or taking a moment of discomfort and turning it into determination, right? We can transform stress into a catalyst for productivity and achievement. So it's like, okay, instead of looking at this with the guilty mindset or the victim mindset, you look at it as an opportunity for growth, and an opportunity to push yourself a little further, and reach a little higher, and that's very, very important. So stress can be complex, but with the right mindset, it equips us with an invaluable tool to navigate through life's challenges with grace and efficacy, right? So very, very important. Look at stress as a tool on your tool belt, right? And it's all about your perspective. And don't get me wrong, there's certain forms of stress that no matter how you look at it, it's gonna have a negative impact.
It's gonna hurt.
On you. Yeah,
It's gonna affect you.
But a lot of situations is all based off of perspective, right? And how you choose to look at it. And in those moments, you have to take control of that and not let that stress be a dictator, right? Not let it dictate your emotions. You take control of it and look at it as an opportunity, and take the necessary steps to make the best out of it.
I agree. That makes sense. And one of the things that you said that really resonates with me, like I said earlier, the way that you see a situation and the way that you speak about it makes a significant difference. And words truly matter at the end of the day. The words that you use when you address a situation, they matter. If you say it's hard, you're damn right, it's going to be hard. If you say that this is a challenge, okay, yeah, it's going to be challenging. But a lot of times with challenges, there's a goal at the end, and that goal is to overcome the challenge, right? And I feel that a lot of times we put ourselves in situations that may not need to be as an obstacle, or may not need to be a situation that's causing resistance, but it's really a situation that's testing us and allowing us to be equipped with the necessary tools to get to the next phase that we want to get to in life. And like he was just saying, it's all about perception. In addition to that, one of the key things I believe when it comes to managing stress and dealing with stress is having a good defense system. And I'm a strong believer. Like when I played college sports, I played on defense. I always played on defense. And I believe that defense wins championships. People can debate me on this all you want to, but if they don't score, they can't win. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like defense wins champ.
Somebody got to score. It's gonna be a
Okay,
tie,
at the end of the day, somebody does have to score. It's going to be a tie. But the team that can defend the best
There
typically
you go.
can win. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they say the best response for great defense is great offense, but defense is extremely important.
You want to have good defense, right? And I think like I said, when handling stress, you can take the same approach to that. So getting the best defense system to enable you to handle stress is a key part of not allowing stress to get the best of you. And a few things that you can use and have accessible to you when it comes to defending against stress will be things like mindfulness practice, right? So meditation, yoga, and breathing, exercising, all of those things can help and reduce stress and produce a calmer mind. It allows you to manage stress a lot better. Something else that you can do is practicing healthy living. So regular exercise, a balanced diet, and getting enough sleep can enhance your body's ability to cope with stress. Something else you can do would be scaling down. So overcommitting obviously can cause to burnout. When you overcommit yourself, when you stretch yourself too far, that can cause burnout. And then, you have to learn to say no. Be able to delegate tasks and prioritize what's important. And I think out of all of these, I ain't gonna say out of all of them, that's just one of the most important things. Learning to say no to situations and certain things, it's imperative because you put yourself in situations where you really don't need to, just because you didn't say that 2-letter word, no. So learn to say no. You know what I'm saying? The next thing,
Man, hey,
go ahead. No, you got it, bro. Go.
Man, my motto, man, is I'm willing to help you as long as it don't hurt me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? The moment that it begins to have a negative impact on me, then I gotta cut the ties. Man. I gotta remove myself, because at that point nobody's being helped.
Nope.
And if you were coming to me for help, and then now I'm hurting, who gonna help me?
Right. And I can't benefit you if I'm not at my best.
Exactly. So I gotta help myself by no longer helping you.
Right.
Because it's having a negative impact on both of us at that point.
Absolutely. That's big. Then the next thing is just going to be social support. So spending time with family and friends, reaching out to others when you're stressed, and sharing your concerns can alleviate worries. And I think it's impactful when you're able to have a circle of people that you can connect with in times of trouble. A lot of times it's hard for people to open up about certain situations and get feedback. But I feel that one of the best remedies to anything is being able to communicate with people that you love and that you respect. And when you get around those people that you love and respect and you're navigating through life, it helps you be able to cope with situations where if you didn't have that, you'll be in your head all day. You'll be telling yourself that you can't. You'll be telling yourself that it's too bad for you, and all these other situations that can potentially occur when you don't have anybody to talk to and anybody to lean on. So definitely having that social support is impactful. Then the last thing is just professional help. And if it's a chronic situation, if it's a situation where you're having certain thoughts about whatever it is that's negative, seek help. And I think that's one of the most courageous things that anybody can do. The most powerful thing that anybody can do is recognizing that they're not at their best, and the only solution to that problem is seeking help from somebody who's a professional that deals with certain things to help you get on the better side of things. You know what I'm saying? And so that's also imperative. And I would say that's probably one of the most important ones out of
Hey
that
man,
for sure.
the strongest things, one of the strongest things you can do is identify your
Yeah,
weaknesses.
that's powerful, bro.
And get help. You know what I mean? That's one of the strongest things you can do. That is not a weakness. So if it requires, like said mentioned, if you're having chronic levels of distress, you know what I mean, and to the point where you can't function, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you're having negative thoughts, it's very, very important to seek out some professional help, and that is not a weak thing, not in the slightest.
I'd agree.
So cool. Um, so moving on to the end, right? As we kind of summarize this episode, which I think this is a very powerful one because we all deal with stress, and as we uncover through this episode, it's every day we wake up, it's about solving problems. You know what I mean? That's literally what life is about. But in summary, understanding the nature of stress and our unique response to it is crucial for our personal well-being. So recognizing when stress is healthy, and it's keeping us alert, adding value to our life, is very important. And it's just as important to recognize when stress is becoming pernicious, right? And is having a negative impact on our health and happiness. So, equally important. You got to understand, like we talked about the spectrum, the stress spectrum, right? And, when you're on one side of that versus when you're on the other side, you need to be able to identify that. And then embracing effective coping strategies, which Sed just mentioned, to manage stress can transform this inevitable part of life from a foe, right, to a controlled ally. So instead of it being something that you are fighting and challenging, and it's dictating things in your life, it becomes that tool that you can kind of pull out, or that ally that you can kind of lean on to help you get through certain situations and help you grow and become a better person, an individual. And then by learning and navigate the ebbs and flows of stress, we can use it as a tool for growth, resilience, and that will ultimately lead to a more fulfilling life. And that's, what I mean, that kind of puts a bow on it and ties it up, right? If you can really figure out a way to, manage stress and use it to your advantage, you're winning.
Yeah, it is.
Period, point blank. You're winning. You got anything else you want to add to
Man,
that, Sid?
one thing I was just going to say is obviously this is the holiday season, you know,
High stress,
high
high
stress,
money spending.
yeah, all of that, man. And so I would just advise anybody, man, be mindful of stressful situations. Be mindful of those moments that you get yourself into where you may be overwhelmed with negative emotions because you may not be able to do certain things that you've done in the past, or you may not be able to do certain things that you anticipated that you would be able to do. I would encourage anybody who's listening to this episode, if you know somebody who's dealing with stress or usually around this time have challenges, send them to episode 94. Have them listen to this episode. Go to the website, view the kit for this episode and some of the details of what we provide in the kit that gives you more clarity and just more context to our discussion, because I believe that a lot of people deal with some very hard times around the holidays, but if there's a helpful solution that they can identify with and where the conversation really resonates with them, I feel like it can make a significant difference. You know what I'm saying?
That was a big call out, man. That was actually a real big call out because a lot of people, they just assume during the holidays, that's a time with family and love and joy and support and all that. But the reality is that's not everybody's reality.
Yeah.
And like some people don't have a lot of family, or they may have just lost a family member, or their mom or their dad, or grandparents, brother, sister, whoever.
Right.
Is part of their family and who they kind of lean on and depend on. So this might be a time of year that is not something they're looking forward to. So that was a great call out, and those things definitely can lead to distress, right, and can cause you to you know, be in a very bad place and you know, not allow you to be the best version of yourself. So if you know somebody going through that, as said mentioned, point them to episode 94. Check out the kit, or, you know, consume the content however best they like to consume the content, right? Whether that's through the podcast, or through, you know, the YouTube video, or if they like to read it. And if you want to do all three, that's cool too. You know what I mean?
We ain't opposed to any of that.
You know, we ain't opposed to any of that. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Y'all know we in it for the long haul, so you know what I mean. It is what it is. You know, it is the holiday season, so if y'all looking for a little snazzy little gift to get to y'all peoples, you know, we do got some hats available on the website. So go on, be sure to check them out, and you know, put a bow on that. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? But with all that said, man, we greatly appreciate y'all as always. And if you don't do nothing else,
keep it thorough. Till next time, Kid Nation.
Deuces.